Hi everyone, so this posture I'm going to go over here is called Parighasana, and there's a few variations you can work with depending on how you're feeling, and you can use blocks, of course. So I have a block here. I think a cork brick is more sturdy for some support than those foam bricks, but they'll work fine. They're just, if you put some weight on them, they can bend slightly. So Parighasana, gate posture. You're gonna slide to one end of the mat, and you can have your back toes tucked, so tucked or untucked, but you want that foot to be active regardless. So be aware of what that foot's doing. It's not just a floppy leg and floppy foot, it's holding you in place here. And if the top of the foot's on the floor, then you can spread your toes, feel your calf muscle engage, and we want the leg that's going to be the vertical leg to be strong and steady. All right, so that's what I'm doing behind me. Now take one of your legs out to the side, and then we want to notice where our hips have gone. So this leg that's staying vertical, we try to squeeze in the bum and keep the hip stacked with the knee. Now if you have any knee issues, you can double up your mat, or you can put something cushiony underneath it, like a rolled up blanket, or just double up your mat like this. Okay, so that's the first part of this posture. And then when we have our other leg out to the side, if you have very sensitive heels, some people like to practice with their foot on the floor just to help out the bottom of the heel. So that's dependent on you. Your foot might not reach all the way to the floor. That depends on ankle flexibility. So we can play around with that foot as well, or pad the heel if needed. And what we want to do from there, once we have our knees and feet placed, is feel like the extended leg is sucking back in to the hip socket, okay? So if it feels like it's sliding away from you, we might feel some instability right in the attachment points to the sit bone of the hamstring. And that's somewhere where we really want to be aware of not pulling on. We can stretch through the inner thigh and the bottom of the middle of the hamstring, but just not up to the sit bone and not to your inner knee. So be aware of, think about your joints, your hips, your knees, your ankles. If anything's hurting there, then that's something that you want to address and come out of. So feeling like you're sucking the legs into the pelvic floor. Okay, and your feet set up can be however you choose. So untucked, foot to the floor, heel to the floor. You want to feel like this extended leg's thigh is lifting. And then we lift out of the waistline to create space in the lower back as well, and start to fold over to the extended leg. Now watch what happens when you fold over. When you fold over, do you tend to arch your back and stick your bum back and your chest forward to reach the ground? Pay attention to that alignment too. If you're there, you will want to come up and feel like the extended leg's hip is pressing forward, and a slight external rotation of that thigh bone as the legs suck down into the hip sockets. It's almost like triangle pose, Trikonasana. Put the right hand down. You can put your hand on your waistline for support to make space in that hip before you fold. You can put it on your thigh. You can put it just below your knee. Just avoid putting it onto your knee, and then this is where the block's gonna come handy. You can have the block stacked, shoulder, elbow, wrist, the block supporting your palm. That can be forward. It can even be back behind you. So a bit of variation here you can work with. Now try not to crunch. As I said, swing the hip back and crunch this right side. We want to, when we're preparing to go into this posture, feel the legs draw in. Okay, this bum cheek engage, pressing the hips forward. Toes, knees pointing up for that external rotation from the hip socket. Then we inhale, reach your opposite arm up of your extended leg with your palm facing in. So you're reaching out of the side of the body, feeling that stretch down through the ribs, maybe into your waistline. Lengthening the opposite waist that you're folding over, and then folding into the posture. We'll see where you get from here. Doesn't really matter how far you get as long as we're not leaning into the lower back, swinging the hips back, or dumping weight into our legs. And then you breathe here to hold the pose. You inhale to find an expansion, maybe the left side of the body lengthens, and then an exhale. Maybe you can move your shoulder blades slightly down to feel your neck lengthen. If there's space in your left side of your neck, your head can turn for a gazing point to the side. Extended leg stays active. Good, and then you inhale, come back in. And I'm going to show you the deeper variation just on my other leg. All right, so shuffling down the mat when you're switching sides. The other leg comes out, so notice hips squeezed and pressed slightly forward, thigh rolling out, scooping in to the pelvic floor. So you feel that contraction, lower abdominals, lengthened lower back, and whatever you want to do with your feet. Now inhale to find length, and then exhale to fold. Option 1, 2, 3, block or floor, 4. And eventually you're actually grabbing your foot with one hand or with both hands, and keep pressing your hips forward. So if they swing back, mine are swinging back a little bit because I'm not warm. So not the greatest example, but something like this, keeping the hips pressing forward. And that puts a lot of pressure on my heels. So once I get down, I put more weight into the foot so I can focus on drawing up into the pelvic floor. Good, Parighasana, and then you inhale, come up. And that's the pose. Thanks for watching.